I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And a happy Sunday fun day to everybody out there. Scott Duff here along with Ellen Miller. We traveled through time. We traveled through time.
Yes.
It's kind of like when we came back from Thailand and we landed 5 minutes after we took off.
That's crazy.
It's
That's
always
time
bananas.
travel.
That's some time travel. Well, we all did that.
We
Welcome
all
to
did
daylight
that.
savings.
Yeah, if you're listening to us going, wait, it's only 10 o'clock. No.
No,
It's
it's
11
11.
o'clock.
It is 11
Our bodies
o'clock.
may say 10 o'clock, but the real time.
Ugh.
11.
I hate this day so
11:05.
much.
Well, I have mixed feelings about it because I love,
the sunshine. We all love the
I love the
sunshine.
longer light days, so I just put up with it. Just kind of put up with it.
I know, but this is the day that like everybody has like heart attacks and things.
I know, it's weird.
It's
But what
awful.
happened? We often, you can go to Indiana. You can drive like for a couple, or Michigan. You could drive for an hour and you could be in a different time zone.
I know, it's magical.
So, we do that all the time. We go up to Michigan and we go
I
forward
don't
an
go up to
hour.
Michigan. I stay in the central time zone the whole time. I try not to leave. My body is regulated to central time zone. Things start at 7 o'clock. I don't need no 8 o'clock start time. No 11 o'clock news. I want my 6 o'clock news. I want my 10 o'clock news.
It does seem like a better time for those programs.
Right? And then you get to bed at a reasonable time.
Oh, that would never happen with me.
I know. Same with me either, because there's some
But a
stupid
girl and a
stuff.
boy, we can dream. Girls
There
can
we
dream.
Hey, guess what? We're at day 48 of the 53.
Oh, yeah.
The Hitler Transformation Project.
Day 4008.
Yeah, no,
Mentally.
but it's he's just kind of moving along, isn't he?
He sure is.
He sure is.
Piece of
People
work.
are being really weird. Like, we've got today we've got a very special show in the fact that we are opening up our lines, and we want to hear from you today. Things are cuckoo bananas, as we all know, and I don't know. I think people have a lot on their mind.
Yeah,
and,
I think they do too.
And people are being weird. Governor Newsom is being weird. He made statements this week about transgender athletes in schools that were odd. So we are going to have Brian Johnson, CEO of Equality Illinois, to weigh in on the remarks by Gavin Newsom about the transgender student athletes and the work that's ahead, and kind of get a scoop as to, like, he's announced that he is stepping down as CEO, and they just had their big gala, Equality Illinois did, which was a huge success. His speech was chef's kiss. Amazing. So looking forward to chatting with him a little bit about like, and again, some action steps, what's going on. And we, like I said, we're keeping the second hour open for you.
Yeah, for you. You hear
For
it?
you.
You're out there.
What's
Give us
on
a
your
call.
mind?
Think about what you want to say.
So,
and
give us a call at 773-763-9278. The number again is 773-763-9278. Of course, you can find us on Facebook, where we're coming at you live. Really? This camera angle goes right up my nose. It's just like, there we are. So
Mine's at the top of my head mainly.
fantastic. So if you want to see,
my
the
part.
top, see the part, and see the bats in the cave, head on over to Facebook. You can find us at Out Chicago Radio, and while you're there, give us a click and a like and a share. But if that doesn't float your boat, you can always tune in on WCPT AM 820. And while you're at it, follow WCPT and Heartland Signal on all of the socials, and you can listen live on TuneIn from heartlandsignal.com, or tell Alexa to play WCPT from TuneIn. How you doing there, Ellen Miller? Aside from a little sleepy.
A little sleepy.
Yeah.
A little tiny bit.
Yeah.
But, we're just trying to put one foot in front of the other, Scott, and remain as positive as we can. Didn't do a lot this week, just kind of hung at home.
Well, but didn't you have some Mardi Gras fun that was going on?
You know what? Duh.
I know
this
whole week has been a very big blur.
It has been blurry. Tuesday, Fat Tuesday, we went to one of our favorite venues in the Chicago area, Fitzgerald's. They throw a fabulous, they always celebrate Fat Tuesday. In fact, my band years ago, Nelson Street Revival, played a Fat Tuesday show there. But they had Rick King's Royal Hustle, a lot of fun. I donned my favorite mask, which I wear all night long.
Was this the one that you wore to your New Year's
yes,
party?
Exactly. It's his. So I wore the mask.
Fabulous.
And people were really, people want to just be together, and you can just feel it. They want to let loose. They want to be together. Although some people I'm noticing, I think people are on edge a little bit. I don't know if you're noticing that from your job.
Oh,
we could talk about that.
1,000%.
It's like I tapped somebody on the shoulder to tell them that somebody was trying to get by them. I know, I see, I have. It's like easy.
Whoa,
I'm
okay,
just
buddy.
Trying, the DJ needs to get in front of you because he's got to announce that we're taking a break, and And I'm just, people, and I get it. I mean, there's a lot to be on edge about if you're paying attention. It's the fine line of paying attention because we need to be informed.
Mm-hmm.
I can't pay attention right now because my mental health
needs it. Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about that, but it is a fine line,
Yeah.
We had some friends over for dinner. Believe it or not, we hadn't seen them in 6 years. It's like time.
Isn't that?
Oh my God! I'm like 6 years.
That's
6
bananas.
years?
Do they? And they live like
they
where?
live in the suburbs.
Okay, but still,
But
they don't
live in
Chicagoland
another.
area.
Yeah, they live in the area.
That was like last week. I hung out with a friend of
God.
mine who literally lives 2 blocks away, and we haven't seen each other in 5 months.
I mean, it just happens. Time
Yeah.
just gets away. But they are politically the same, like-minded, and people. Everybody's having these same discussions. Like you get together, people, and it's like, let's not go there yet. Let's wait. Let's keep the vibe nice.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
everybody wants to go there because we just need to commiserate with one another.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I was listening to Dr. Amy on the way in. Don't talk politics, to get away from this, but it's a fine line between, like I said, trying to remain aware of what's going on so we can react in the right ways, the left ways, the proper ways, and also trying to save your mental health. So, of course, we veered into it. I said, hey, seen any good, what are you guys watching? Then we veered back into it. And, it's just, people can't stay away from it. It's like, it's a car accident we can't keep our eyes off of.
Oh, yeah. And we're in the trunk.
And we're in the trunk.
It's like that's kind of... That's where
it just
it feels like
there
right now.
isn't a lot of power right now. So the power is, we have to take the power back, and we have to organize. We have to stay on the same page. I mean, yesterday I kind of got caught by surprise. It was International Women's Day.
Yeah, which there are so many people that actually think that Trump came up with it.
Oh, please.
Social media was filled with
missed
dum-dums who are like, people think that Trump hates women, but it's today's International Women's Day, which he signed a thing. So, I mean, he loves women. It's like, wait.
Yeah, he loves them, all right.
It's been going on since 1987.
It has. It's been going on for many years.
Many decades.
And I saw a lot of my fellow women out there protesting yesterday. I didn't realize it was. I kind of got caught by surprise. I mean, some were in Schaumburg protesting the Tesla dealer or Hoffman Estates, wherever they were. I think it was Schaumburg. People were downtown protesting or marching. So, people will do what they need to do, but we need to figure out what that is. That's like the Democrats are holding their cards close to their vest right now, quote unquote. That they're just, I don't know if they truly have a plan or if they're just letting the other side implode and then want to swoop in. I don't, but I know a lot of people feel one thing that's common, and that's they feel kind of powerless because of
because
so
of
many areas of the
structure.
government.
I mean, just because they have, they've got all three branches of government right now.
It's just frightening,
Yeah.
Christy Nome was on the morning
That
news
gal.
shows. Oh,
That
my
gal.
God, that has commercials. Have you seen the commercials?
No.
Oh my God! It's like if you want to leave on your own, you can, and you'll have a chance to come back. But if you don't, and we have to escort you out of the country, you're not coming back. It's like this, giving you a chance to leave. If you're here illegally. Oh, yeah, these ads. Have you seen them, Devin?
I have not seen.
Oh, yeah, they're running like crazy this week.
On what?
I saw them on the news. I saw them on the ABC, David Muir News. I saw them. What else were we watching? Amazing Race or something? I don't know what the heck we were watching, but we don't watch a ton of television, but I've seen it a few times. Oh, yeah. Telling people just
And that's
leave.
a great way to save money. Making ads.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there we are.
Yeah, they're just...
Yeah.
It's a lot of lies, and we'll get into that. Of course, I did not watch because I was at the Fat Tuesday party celebrating with
Girl,
friends.
I'm gonna get fired from my day job one of these days.
Why is that?
Because my filter sometimes doesn't really work.
When you're at work?
Yeah. It's just weird. Or sometimes I'm just like getting a little too jovial. But I had somebody come in on Wednesday and I'm like, well, and we're doing a little chit chat. So did you get up to anything for, Mardi Gras for Fat Tuesday? And like, well, we tried really hard. Like we had masks and we had beads and we found this place. Like Chicago doesn't really do Mardi Gras. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Not as well as like say New Orleans.
Yeah.
Or other cities.
Or other, Latin American countries are just crazy for Carnival.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they're like, we ended up going to this Irish pub that said they were going to have like Cajun music and Cajun food and whatever. And we walked in and there was like this weird, like, that was not happening. And I'm like, well, I hope you just like turned around, showed them your boobs and then left, But it's like, oh, wait a second. I don't think I can say that to a customer. But I did.
They
laughed.
They laughed.
So
They
it's
knew
okay.
you were just being funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, the city used to, there were more places that used to have Mardi Gras parties because I was always a fan of Zydeco music, and there's a place called Cullen's and another place across the street that they had there was dueling Cajun bands and Zydeco bands, and then things trend out. It's like, okay, well, we can't afford these anymore, or the market, the economy changes, and they don't hire a lot of bands from out of town.
It's weird.
Night.
I guess just because of like my upbringing, was like we never did like a Mardi Gras kind of thing because it's the beginning of Lent. It's like the day before Lent. So I mean, the most we ever did was like go to get a pancake supper at church.
That's the typical.
That's the kind of thing
American Catholic kind of way to do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not Catholic, but
Christian.
Yeah,
Christian.
But like, so it's always just a weird thing to me. I'm like this big old celebration. I mean, I guess you're supposed to be, fatten up before you go in and you give everything up.
Doing all the things and all the crazy things you want to do. I have a lot of friends in New Orleans and I follow them on social media. And New Orleans, man, what these parades that they do
are incredible.
And the traditions. On Mardi Gras Tuesday, people are up drinking at 5 a.m. Like that's like the deal, So if you're not a drinker, I don't know what
I'm like,
you do.
It just seems like a nightmare.
Yeah, I went to Mardi Gras my sophomore year. No,
in New Orleans?
Freshman year of college.
Fun.
We put up a sign that 3 girls looking for a ride to Mardi Gras. This is 1975.
Right. Yeah.
And, was those tear off the phone numbers. And we picked like what we thought were the nerdiest guys to take us because we felt safe. Turns out they were nuts. I mean, they were crazy.
Oh, no.
I can't even tell these stories on the air. But we basically slept in the van. We drove down there. We left at night. We drove all night. Got pulled over by the cops in Mississippi.
Oh, God.
They were looking for drugs and guns. And they looked at you're from Southern Illinois. Isn't that hippie school? Oh my God. Oh yeah, this is 75 in Mississippi. And we were sitting on we got booze and we had pot and we had, God knows. Anyway, it was a little crazy, but and I vowed never to go back because my Mardi Gras experience down there was just kind of nuts.
Yeah.
But there's more to it than just getting drunk.
I mean, I know there's like the time honored traditions, especially like in New Orleans with like the cruise and all that stuff. I get it. I
love that, and someday I hope to take part in that. I want to spend maybe a winter in New Orleans and see what it's all about. Winter in New Orleans.
Winter in New Orleans is probably the only time that I like being there because it's not so hot.
No, the middle of summer, you're not going to catch me there.
It is hot.
But anyway, I think, the more distractions, the better. But we're all kind of on the same page right now when it comes to a little bit of, there's a lot of nervousness. There's, people are worried about their Medicare. They're worried about Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they keep saying
now
they're not going to
touch it. Now they're worried about the Department of Education, which looks over like meals for schools.
Oh, so many things.
So many things, like special education programs.
I mean, you don't run the country like you run a business. Because I don't know about you, but when I worked for a corporation, it wasn't a democracy. The boss makes the rules and that's it.
Yeah.
It's not, this country and this government is not a business.
Well,
it's not a corporation. I mean, it has to be run about what's right for the people.
I agree.
And this is being lost, except it's not being lost on the people. It's being lost on the Elon Musks of the world and his enablers.
They don't care.
They don't care. They don't care.
What they are doing is they're trying to make as many changes as fast as they possibly can.
Yeah.
Because that way we can't keep up and we can't follow them. Fortunately, they're making mistakes left and right. Just like, I didn't know that we needed people to actually look after the nuclear arms.
Yeah.
Oh, you're higher. All of this stuff.
At what cost will we pay for these mistakes? Even though they claim to be backpedaling on a few of them, there's going to be things that are lost in the shuffle. I mean, the air traffic controllers they wanted to fire. Come on.
Oh, yeah. It's
there's just it's a fine line between escaping and staying and staying really in touch with what's going on so we can fight back, and we'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
And we want to hear from you, gentle listeners.
So give us a call at 773-763-9278. The number again, 773-763-9278. We should probably take a little break. But before we go, I got to build this part of Out Chicago is brought to you by Team Hochberg. Hey, attention listeners, financial planners, CPAs, and divorce attorneys. If you are wondering why your mortgage professional has not returned your calls, well, it's probably because they are one of the 165,000 mortgage professionals who didn't renew their license over the past 24 months. If you're purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. In the past 24 months, while other companies have been shutting down and loan officers are not renewing their licenses, Team Hochberg has been adding loan officers, is stronger than ever, and would love to earn your business. Now let's review. In the past 24 months, mortgage companies have closed and over 165,000 loan officers exited the mortgage business, while Team Hochberg has expanded and is stronger than ever. If you like to work with experienced mortgage professionals, call Team Hochberg now at 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. The number is 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, there's more Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Hey, this is Mark Patton, and I'm from Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street, and you're listening to Out Chicago.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller, rolling along as we time traveled through the night.
Yes, we did.
An hour earlier. My clock is all wonkadoodle.
A little bit, yeah. Someone said, why don't they should do this? I heard someone say last week on a Friday at 4 o'clock. They could change it.
That would be wonderful, wouldn't
that
it?
Be good?
That'd be great. But
why not?
4 o'clock where? There are 4 different time zones.
4 o'clock.
But where?
Where?
Like, would it be a gentle rolling across, because 4 o'clock happens first in New York.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? There are different time zones.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm talking about the Central Time.
Okay, see? The best time zone. There we are. See? It starts in Central. There we go. I'm with you on that one. Hey, I had a bit of a weird week this past week. A friend of mine passed away this week.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Jody Andre. It's okay. Let's see if I can get through this.
Larger than life kind of personality.
She was a restaurateur, a real trailblazer, especially on the north side of Chicago and the Andersonville neighborhood. She passed away this week. She was 65.
Unexpected.
Mm-hmm. It's a big shock to all of her family and friends. She really was just an incredible force of nature. If you were around Chicago and in Andersonville in particular, she was one of those people that helped make the Andersonville community what it is today. It was the heyday. I loved calling it the Andersonville, the land of lesbians and lingonberries, because it was all sweet. It was Swedish and lesbians.
We're talking the 90s.
We're talking in the 90s here, and she owned a restaurant called Tomboy.
Yep.
And she was one of the coolest people that I ever knew. Her car. She loved her car.
Did she?
Oh my God, she had this little BMW like roadster thing that when she would pull up, I'm like, who are you? You are so cool. She's so cool. Like she would come in. She created a space where all were welcome. She was the consummate host. She wanted you to make sure that you felt special, that you felt seen, that you felt fabulous. And she taught me so much just in terms of hospitality, because I worked at that restaurant. I worked at her restaurants, and we became very, very close.
Of course.
In fact, she was there when I met Jerry Dye. When I met Jerry. So we go back. She was a queer woman who owned her own business. She opened up 2 more restaurants, The Room and Speakeasy. She was always involved in politics, and progressive politics in particular. She was a huge Jan fan. I can remember there were just countless fundraisers or special parties or events that would happen in her restaurants. I got to meet a young state senator at the time, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, there at a fundraiser when he was running for the Senate. She was just a force of nature. She was. You knew her.
I knew her too, and she was a big supporter of women's music, especially music in general, but lesbian women's music. My friend Kathy Richardson was one of Jody's favorites, and Kathy played several times, even at Tomboy. We had like I forget, it was a New Year's thing, or I think we played there for New Year's.
I don't even know where because it's so tiny.
It was just like a Kathy solo kind of a thing. Then she also had Kathy at Speakeasy, and we spent a New Year's there. I played, and she just very supportive and of the arts, as you said, of progressive politics, the food scene. Tomboy was one of our favorites. Kathy thinks, I think you waited on. Did you used to wear leopard pants? He used to wear leopard pants in there. So she remembers some waiters wearing leopard pants.
I'm trying to think who that was, but no, I did not wear leopard.
She remembered that, but
I did not wear leopard pants.
We were like regulars at Tomboy. I mean, we loved Tomboy.
I loved Tomboy. Their tuna.
Yeah.
The wasabi tuna steak with the wasabi encrusted tuna with the wasabi mashed potatoes and the cucumber salad.
Exactly. I remember I can taste it right now.
And the rack of lamb with the coconut mashed potatoes.
He knows the menu.
Yeah, I know it all. But she was. There was no stranger. No. You came in, she's like, all right, we're going to come out. She had this great little voice. She just was smoking her Nat Shermans. Yeah. She always had, because that was back in the day where you could actually still smoke in a restaurant. Yeah, It's hard to believe that thing. But yeah, so she would be sitting at the bar. She'd have her Nat Shermans. She would be like, work the room, making sure that everybody was seen, that everybody was like, oh, their food tasted good. She just wanted everybody she was had
a good smile.
She had a great smile, a great laugh. She just wanted to include everybody. And she was one of the most generous people on the planet. She would give you the shirt right off her back. And she just was she was a heck of a lady.
She was touched a lot of people.
Yeah. And, I would just remember her going through through the dining room, usually somewhere around the 8:00 hour. And she's checking all the candles on the tables. And then she'd go, ambiance, 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 ambiance. She would just scream ambiance all over.
And that showed, because that's what Tomboy had, beautiful ambiance.
And that was our cue to go and replace all the candles and get everything going, because she wanted to make sure that it felt like a party, that there was a great lighting, that everybody just felt what I call feeling famous. With the moment where you are with, it usually happens in an urban environment, and it happens usually at night, and you look really cute, and you're with some really, really great people, and you're in a particular cool venue, and you just feel like everybody wants to be you. And that's what she tried to make everybody feel.
And she accomplished it.
She did that. And, it was just such an interesting, that time, Andersonville really was the hub for queer women.
It was.
It was wonderful. Stargaze was right across the street.
Yep.
I can only remember there was a couple that owned it, Butch, and I can't remember her partner's name, both her partner in life and her business partner. But they would come in, have dinner, and then they'd go over and like work over at Stargaze.
Sure.
And then they would invite us over.
Yeah.
Stargaze, what a weird drop ceiling.
Yeah, that was
kind
it.
of
I remember dancing there a few times.
Oh, heck yeah. I loved it. I loved going there.
Yeah,
and,
it was fun.
But that whole neighborhood, Tees kind of became like
That's
an unofficial queer space for women. We've talked many times about how queer spaces, predominantly for women, are
disappearing,
are gone. Now, fortunately, we do have like Nobody's Darling and Dorothy that have opened up.
But on the strip on Clark Street in Andersonville, correct me if I'm wrong, is there anything left that are mainly women's? I don't.
Farragut's has kind of become a de facto queer space.
I have to, admittedly, not in that demo as much anymore of going out to bars.
Right. But that was the thing about. That was the thing about the Andersonville in the 90s. You would see people of all ages kind of doing their thing. I know there's Whiskey Girl Tavern just opened up that's a little bit further north. That's closer to Devon.
Yeah.
But it's
the world as we know it now. But those are fond memories of a safe space. I loved going to a gay-owned restaurant. Owned by a woman. I mean, that was kind of rare. There wasn't that many.
Yeah, I mean, there were it was women in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Two women chefs that ran the place, ran the kitchen. She ran the front of the room, the front of the house rather, and it was just very empowering for me as a young queer person. Just like kind of like, oh, this is like. She was a role model about like, look, success can happen. Look, there is joy. You can have joy. There is community. Like it always felt like there was community whenever you walked into.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Into that place. So she will be missed.
She will.
Yeah, she will. She'll be missed.
Yes. I'm very sorry for all those that knew and loved her, and I was shocked when I saw it pop up on the socials this week, and I reached out to you right away because I know that you worked for her.
You told me, and I had a friend who
knew her very well.
Yes, they were together for about 7 years. So, and I got to break that news to her. So that was a little challenging. But
we feel young still. I mean, 65, when you're 25 it seems old, but when you're 66 or 67, 65 seems, that's young.
I know, 100%.
And especially in these days when people are living longer lives. I mean, easily, 90 in the mid 90s. So 65 30 more, many more years of life.
Yeah.
But
I know Jody Andre and Tomboy really it meant a lot. That space meant a lot to many, many people. I've been seeing stories that people have been coming up. Very, very prominent members of the queer community here in Chicago have been, posting tributes and talking about their experiences there and about how it being one of the first places where they came out, where they felt comfortable enough to be themselves. And to be accepted and to be loved. And that's huge. In these times we're talking about, I'm sorry, my brain's a little.
That's okay.
Boozy.
We're talking about, having to fight the fights again that we thought we've already fought and won. I remember every year when we have a pride parade, we're like, well, we have gay marriage now. We have a Democrat in the White House. Blah 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 blah. Look, what do we celebrate? Well, sure enough, our rights are all on the line.
They're on the line again.
Again, and we have to be vigilant, and we have to continue the fight. And when you look back on the pioneers, they're even more important. I mean, we talk about a restaurant where, like a Tomboy, where you felt seen and you felt like accepted, and you want to. I mean, the good news too is that, society has evolved quite a bit. And the reason there aren't as many women-owned bars and women, lesbian restaurants owned is because thankfully here in Chicago where we live, people are accepting, most anywhere you go. It's changed. The younger generation grew up watching, Ellen on television and gay characters on Will and Grace, and we didn't.
Yeah.
And so those experiences for us that are older were so much more meaningful and important and needed. And today, the good news is we are living in a society here in Chicago areas and in cities around the country that are mainly blue, where, you see your people everywhere. You don't have to go to a gay restaurant to see gay people.
Right.
So, we have to look at some of the positives too as we've gone on.
Yeah, 100%. But, and then, yeah. It's just back at that time, it really was one of the main things with the queer movement was visibility, was being out and proud. And looking at, because the media at the time would cover pride parades and all they would do was show pictures of the drag queens and the leather daddies, and the scantily clad people at the parade, which of course they would do that because it's good television.
Yeah.
It's, it's sexy, it's vibrant, it's whatever, but it's at that time, still in the AIDS crisis, where people could still get fired for being gay. Denied how? I mean, again, not here in Chicago. We were very, very lucky because we've had a very great local government that has protected the LGBTQ community.
Yes.
But it was just a big time to show that people could be restaurateurs and doctors and plumbers and the list goes on and still, and be a part of this community. And Jody was she was a really big part in that.
Yeah.
She felt a little more like behind the scenes ish for somebody who was such a big personality. She always wanted to make sure that they got the light. And
she excelled at that, and thanks to her efforts and what she did, we're in a different place today.
Yeah.
People like her.
Yeah, it's crazy. But then, I keep going back to, with all the progress that we've made, there's a part of me that I do miss those, the queer spaces, the queer culture, since we've become so mainstream.
It's true. It's absolutely true. It's kind of a yin and yang kind of thing, There's good things about the fact that we're accepted and more mainstreamed, and there's also a little bit of melancholy over those spaces that were purely ours.
Yeah, because, and also because we used to be the cool kids, there was something a little bit like counterculture about the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it felt fun and a little dangerous and very vibrant and special. Yeah. I mean, and we're still vibrant and special.
Yes, we are.
But I do miss some of the nuances of queer culture.
When you look back, that's part of nostalgia.
I mean, think about it. It's also weird too, because we've got, RuPaul's Drag Race, who's now, I think it was season 17, and he's won, Ru has won so many Emmy Awards, the award-winning shows about drag artists.
I know.
And drag is now this gigantic thing. And now, of course, drag is, being, people are attacking it.
Qualified, yeah.
And so I guess the moral is still just live loud. Live loud, be generous with your spirit, be generous with what you can be generous with. It might not be financially, but it definitely just with your time or with your spirit. Be present for people and be encouraging and be a force of good and joy. Amen to that. There we are. We should probably take a break. Yes. Sorry, I just got a text message from our next guest.
Are they going to be able to make it?
They are going to be able to make it.
Good.
They're like, are we? Yes, we will be calling Brian
Johnson
those
text messages sometimes.
We will be talking with Brian Johnson from Equality, Illinois, right on the other side of this break. So ambiance, everybody. Ambiance. The importance of good lighting. Go do it. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, there's Brian Johnson from Equality, Illinois. You're listening out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Hey, this is Kathy Richardson, America's sweetheart from Jefferson Starship, and you're listening to Out Chicago.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. I haven't heard that one yet.
I remember when she recorded it a few weeks
America's
ago.
Sweetheart.
America's Sweetheart.
She is America's Sweetheart.
I love that.
Here we are.
She's my sweetheart.
Well, we've got
my sweetie.
now you're Sweetie.
Yeah.
You got Sweetie.
I
saw Sweetie in the wild. You and Sweetie in the
yeah,
wild. I saw this week.
Surprised you at
the snack factory. It was very exciting.
Yeah, those plantain chips didn't make it home. We
Yeah,
ate them in the car.
I'm telling you.
But I want to try those other ones you mentioned.
I'm telling you, the plantain crisps.
The crisps.
They're the ones.
I got to get the crisps.
They will mess you up. They are good. They're good. Speaking of good, and during these awful, weird times, I like to quote Mr. Rogers, and we got to look for the helpers. And I can't think of a better group of helpers than the good folks at Equality, Illinois. And joining us now is CEO of Equality, Illinois, Brian Johnson. Brian, welcome back to the show.
Good morning, Scott. Good morning, Ellen. I want to be America's sweetheart.
You are America's
our
sweetheart.
For right now,
Thank you. Thank you.
You're America's sweetheart for time traveling and getting up so early.
There you go. You know I have a 6-year-old. This is
that's true. You have slept in
for me.
Right?
Of course.
First of all, congratulations on your wonderful tenure at Equality, Illinois. You recently had the big gala for Equality, Illinois was last month, I believe. And let me tell you, your remarks at the gala were just amazing. You reminded that we, the LGBTQ community, we have fought our entire lives, and our joy is our superpower. So thank you for that message that you gave. What was that night like for you?
You know, it was incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
I kind of knew a couple days before. I was like, I think I need to be in a space with lots of queer people. And then that night, you know, after, a couple of weeks since the inauguration, a couple of months since the election day, consuming news and small bits by myself or in small groups, conversations, I didn't realize until that night how much I needed to be around 1,400 queer people, just to remind me of our beauty and our power and our history. It was incredible.
Yeah. I mean, we were just talking about the passing of Jody Andre, who was a restaurateur in the 90s here in Andersonville, and the importance of community, especially during these times, is invaluable. And I'm so glad that so many people were able to be together in community to help out an incredible organization. So
thank you.
Yeah. So
Thank
congratulations on that. But sorry, I'm getting all teary. I'm trying to, this week, Governor Newsom made us all make some weird Scooby-Doo sounds, like what? With his remarks about transgender student athletes. He told my personal favorite, Charlie Kirk, that trans women and girls competing in sports is deeply unfair, and he's an issue of fairness. And again, you could always count on Equality, Illinois, because no sooner were those words uttered that then blam, here's our response. What was Equality, or is Equality Illinois' response to this strange message coming from a strange messenger?
Stop bullying trans kids.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Right? I mean, look, I know, and the data shows and stories confirm, people have lots of questions about this issue of trans people playing at elite sports. And those are conversations that we can have, at the elite levels. But look, for the most part, we are just talking about kids and people that want to play. I mean, even the head of NCAA said of the 500,000 athletes playing at the collegiate level, fewer than 10 publicly identify as trans folks. So why are people like Governor Newsom and other Democratic politicians picking up the mantle from Republicans and beating up on trans folks? I thought this was the party of common decency. I thought the Democrats were the party that said, hey, America is stronger when all of us are equal and safe and honored. And I think one thing that's also just confounding to me, Scott and Ellen, is let me be really clear. Trans people are not the reason that Kamala Harris got 6 million fewer votes than Joe Biden. So stop bullying trans folks and start focusing on making America, our economy, and our communities the safest and fairest they can be. That's what Americans care about. They don't want to see you bullying trans kids.
Yeah, and it's very weird. Like, for somebody who's trying to be like the moral majority party, like, oh, all about morals, they are really obsessed with people's potty parts. Like, that's all they talk about. Nancy Mace just going after trans women in bathrooms, and it's always trans women too. The misogyny that's that's inherent in there. Like, as you were saying, there are so many other things that we need to be focusing on, but this is what people want to focus on.
That's right.
It's confounding.
And, I always like to remind people, like, I am 47 years old. I have never known what the genitalia of the person in the stall next to me in a public bathroom has been.
Right.
Never.
Right. It just does not. Things do not compute.
Yeah, the Republicans have taken an issue that they've made it. They've made it an issue for people and put fear into people's minds. As I've talked about, Elon Musk spent millions of dollars running anti-trans ads over 30,000 times in swing states. He just brainwashed these people into fear and loathing and feeling like that these, trans people are the enemy. I mean, it was a campaign. It's a very calculated campaign to reach into people's fears and people in areas that may, they're not maybe from the big city that works around and sees people that are different than they are, that are part of our trans community, that are in our everyday lives here in Chicago, where we don't have that fear. But they really use that. And I guess it got to Newsom that he thinks that's a flashpoint that he needed to try and get on the other side of or something. But it's clearly backfired.
Well, I think so, Ellen. And I just want to name that the bet the current Republican leadership has made is that if they can scare enough folks about our trans siblings, they can establish new powers to go after anybody, right? Because if they can veto a parent's choice over their kid's legal, medically appropriate, gender-affirming care, if they get that right, they can also veto your choice over your kid's vaccines or birth control, right? If the Oval Office can determine what kids play on what high school sports team, then they can overrule any decision a local school district makes, right? If they can decide, in Congress what every bathroom in this country should be, then they can make any rule about any employment matter from D.C. So they are very clearly trying to use concerns about the trans community to establish authoritarian rights that will extend far beyond trans people.
I just wrote the word authoritarian down as you were talking, Brian, because this is what all of this leads to, is an authoritarian dictatorship of just us having zero control over our daily lives, which is what's scaring the heck out of people right now. How do you recommend we fight back?
Look, I think there are three things I'm directing people toward. So first, and I wouldn't be a good CEO if I didn't say this, go to equalityillinois.org.
Yes.
Sign up for our Take Actions. We push out at least one action a week. We have something called Action Tuesdays. It's a great way to get kind of looped in. So that's number one. Number two, there is an amazing organization called Trans Upfront Illinois. They are having a protest for Transgender Day of Visibility at the end of the month. That will be on March
30th, I believe.
March 30th at 1 o'clock at Federal Plaza. They're having a huge action, so we recommend that. And then third, our amazing colleagues and siblings at Indivisible Chicago are really sitting at the center of so many of the actions and protests going on. And so, look, if in the next 5 minutes, every listener went to equalityillinois.org, checked out Trans Upfront Illinois' Facebook page, and clicked on Indivisible Chicago, they would go a long way to making sure that we're standing up for the Illinois and the country we deserve.
Yes, because as you said in your speech, we've not come this far to only come this far.
That's right.
It's great. And again, one of the most wonderful things about Equality Illinois, and along with the Action Tuesday emails, is like you give people action. So we have agency, which will help calm everybody's assuage some of this anxiety that's happening. But when we're actually able to do something, so thank you for doing something and for helping us do something alongside you and these incredible organizations. Look, I know you are stepping down.
I can't believe it seems like just yesterday you were on the show. We were introducing you as the new head of. It was 8 years. Right? It's been like 8 years?
9 years. Nine years. So, God. Ellen, I have to say, it does not feel like just yesterday for me. But yeah, I understand.
So tell us a little bit, what do we have to look forward to for Brian Johnson here in the future?
I don't know. When I came back from the holidays and realized, it has been 9 years, I think frontline civil rights organizations always need to stay innovative and fresh. And Toby, my husband, and I talked and said, the last great gift I can give Equality Illinois is the gift of a long and seamless transition. So that's what we're going to focus on this year. But, my last day isn't until June 30th. I plan to still be queer on July 1, so I am still in the fight.
And you'll be at the parade, too, it sounds like.
That's right. Exactly.
Maybe there are more books involved.
Could be.
Yeah. I don't know. Political options. I don't know.
Who knows? Let the mystery unfold.
It is a mystery. Unfold. I love it. The world is your oyster, so shuck it. Brian Johnson, thank you so much for everything you've done for Chicago and for Illinois, for the queer communities here. Thank you for always taking my call and for coming on the show. You really are an inspiration.
Thank you.
And again, just as a mantra for everybody out there, we haven't come this far to only come this far. So we've got to keep on fighting and going to equalityillinois.org and checking out Trans Upfront. Is that?
Trans Upfront Illinois.
Yep. And Indivisible Chicago. Go and check out all of those things. Brian Johnson, thank you. Enjoy this beautiful day.
And keep up with us. Let us know where you go after this chapter closes.
I will.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Ellen.
Thank you. All right, we've got to take a quick break. And when we come back, it is the second hour about Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And welcome back to the second hour of Out Chicago. Scott Duff here along with Ellen Miller.
Yes, we are.
Rolling along. It's really pretty out.
It is beautiful. I'm going to go for a long walk later.
I'll be going for a long walk up and down grocery aisles later. That's what I'm going to do.
You do a lot of steps in there.
I sure do.
I saw you hustling around there the other day.
I sure do. We were a little slow that day, but
yeah, well.
Not today.
Not today,
crazy.
not Sunday.
And so it's kooky pants. Hey, we decided to do something a little fun and a little different. We're going to open up this hour for all of you delightful folks. As we've been talking about the importance of community, the importance of finding your folks, finding your people, and just venting, we would love to hear from you. What's on your mind? There's
Yeah, please share with us.
Pick,
I can't imagine what's on your mind.
Can't imagine what is on your mind.
We would like to hear it.
Well, we'd like to hear from you. So give us a call at 773-763-9278. The number again is 773-763-9278. And while we're at it, did you know tomorrow on Chew's Views, Richard Chew is going to be here taking your calls and talking to Illinois State Representative Abdel Nasser Rashid, Paige Tobin, Education Program Assistant Manager at Urban Growers Collective, and Rich Logis and Stefania Messina of Leaving MAGA. Choose Views weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. Central on WCPT, Chicago's Progressive Talk, for 20 years. I can't believe 20 years.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
I can't believe we've been on for 11 of them.
It's hard. It's crazy.
It's so...
I know when I tell people, they go, wait, you're on the radio? Did you just start it? How long have you been on it? We're in our 12th. Aren't we in our 12th?
We are in our 12th.
In our 12th.
We are in our 12th,
Yeah.
but it's been
We've
11
completed
years.
11, yeah.
Yes, completed that we've been
Yeah.
on here. Let's go in. And as long as we're at it, too, I want to throw in some shameless
Please
self-promotion. We've talked about the importance of arts and things and,
Yes.
and kind of escapism sort of
More
vibe.
important than ever.
But I'm going to be doing a storytelling event at Writers Theater in Glencoe. It's called Show and Tell.
Great theater, too.
I know. And it's going to be in that beautiful atrium. In there,
yeah.
I'm so excited. It's called Show and Tell. It's March 18th at 7:00. It's a pay what you can kind of event with a $15 suggested ticket price. It's about an hour long, and the theme is Brush with Fame.
Oh.
So there are storytellers that are going to be talking about how Lindsay Lohan stepped on their foot or something like that.
And you have something? Can you tease us with anything?
Yeah, well, if you
missed
it, you're being ridiculous. You can come see. I'm going to be telling my Huffing Oprah story.
Oh, okay.
Yes, which I had done.
Yes.
And You're Being Ridiculous.
Yes.
Not up at Writers Theater. But I will be
Those
up at
North
Writers
Shore
Theater.
people are in for a treat.
Look out.
Look out, folks.
Yeah.
Here comes Scott Dunn.
Here comes Scotty D. Although it's very funny, and I felt very singled out. Well, I'm sure it wasn't singled out, but it just felt like, because you have to, with your submissions and everything, you have to send them a story and send them clips and all this stuff. And my story begins with an expletive. And they
Were they taken aback?
Well, they're like, hey, we're partnering with this high school organization, so
they know those words.
No swear words.
Oh, come
no swear words. So
kids
take all the swear words
You'll
out.
have more credibility if you swear among the kids.
It's true. I'll get my street cred and everything. So, but again, it's going to be up at Writers Theater on March 18th at 7:00. It's called Show and Tell is the name of the show. If you haven't been to Writers Theater, I highly recommend. They've got great work that goes there, but just the building itself is really pretty.
It's
and they have a
gorgeous.
beautiful atrium where we're going to be
That's gonna
performing.
be
And folks
cool.
can sit up on those things.
I don't know who I'd choose for my brush with fame.
You've had several.
I've had a few.
You've
over
had
the
a few.
years.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about my Richard Nixon one?
No.
Never told you about that?
No, I know Tab Hunter kissed you.
Tab Hunter kissed me when I was 5.
Right.
And I was a big fan of his
Right.
TV show. That was my first brush with fame.
With Fame. And then Nixon.
All right. Well,
what?
Okay. So this is a true confession, but I'm honest. I'm going to tell this truth.
Facts matter.
My mother was a Republican. My grandparents, my grandfather was a Republican. All my uncles were Republicans. So as a little kid, I was a Republican. I was a Republican diehard. And when I was a freshman in high school, Richard Nixon came to a neighboring school, Prospect High. Oh. And we were told if we wanted to go to the rally, we could. So I went to Now, I was very excited because...
That's pretty big.
Oh, yeah. I was very excited because Spiro Agnew was his vice presidential running. And, of course, now this was his second term. So he'd already won in 68. So I was in high school, so that would have been 72. And I went to the rally with my little Nixon sign.
Uh-huh.
And it was in the field house, in the gymnasium. And then at the end, I was outside and I ran next to his car.
What?
And he rolled down his window and he told me to run a little faster.
What?
Yeah.
How could you get that close? That's the thing.
Back then,
I
I was running next to his car.
That's amazing.
I was so excited to see him in person.
Did you play with his jowls?
I was a big fan.
Did you play with his jowls?
No. Thankfully, by the time I went to college, I saw the
Watergate kind of cleared things up for you.
Watergate, Jimmy Carter came to my college and my university and spoke, and the very first presidential election I was legal, that I could vote in was 1976, and I voted for Jimmy Carter and never looked
Best
back.
Decision ever.
So I can talk about my youth when I was not a voter, but
right.
It was strictly a case of following my parents and my uncles and my grandfather's views, and that's how so many people come to their political views, is what they've grown up with their whole lives.
Absolutely. And if people who don't leave,
if they never leave
their
little
communities,
area,
their little bubbles,
that's true.
Then
That's true.
there's not much change happening.
Because a lot of my friends, my high school girlfriends, that we were so radical and so anti-war and peace loving and all this. They're Republicans. They're Trump people. Several of them, and of course they are the ones that never went on to higher education for the most part, never left the area. So if you're around diversity, if you're around people of different walks of life, you will get a better. And then I'm not talking about schooling. I'm talking about just the education of life.
Yeah,
you will get
travel.
that. Travel is traveling out of the country. There's some people that have never been on an airplane still. They want to be in their bubble. But most people, we were talking about it at a dinner party the other night, most people that travel the world have a view similar to ours, a world view, not just a myopic
view of what's going on with our country.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what's going on with our country.
And for years, when I would go, I've gone to Europe since I was, I went to Europe when I was 22 for the first time with a backpack and a guitar. I was amazed at how much other European kids knew about my country and our politics more than we did, which is, of course, born true here with this latest election. Here we go. People that didn't pay attention. As I say, we paid more attention to what Trump was saying than people that voted for him. They just didn't want to pay attention to Kamala. They didn't want to pay. They just knew that they were going to go with what they thought was a strong man, somebody that is a good business person because he is rich. I mean, these perceptions that they came up with. And this is the problem with America, is we are not, a lot of us are just not that enlightened.
Yeah.
As was proven in this 2024 election.
Keep them poor, keep them dumb.
Yep.
Keep them sick.
I love the uneducated.
I love the uneducated. Yeah. Yep. That's what's. I'm trying to get off of this for 1 second because I'm trying to also go back to what are some of my little other celebrity brushes with fame? I went bowling with Rosie O'Donnell.
I met Rosie at a thing once. Couple things.
Was this before she came out, or?
Yeah, we were at the. I was at the time with Poppy. We were at the Beacon Theater for the Gay Games. We went to New York for the Gay Games, and there was a huge, fantastic concert at the Beacon Theater in New York afterwards, and we managed to sneak into seats in front of Madonna and Rosie O'Donnell.
What?
And Poppy was like, there's a picture in
Wait, you've been that close to Madonna and you've never told me?
I have so many. Scott, we could sit here for hours I could tell you stories of people I've just
ran into. Yeah.
Warren Beatty years ago at Cross Currents. Remember Cross Currents?
No, what's Cross Currents?
Cross Currents was a club on Sheffield, very close to Belmont. It's now torn down, but it was the first place that had Aaron Freeman's Council Wars was performed there.
Okay.
And Shel Silverstein and Mike Nichols and Warren Beatty were there the night I was there. And
what?
I locked eyes with Warren Beatty, and I remember thinking we were just entranced for a moment.
There you
my
are.
imagination. But anyway, that was a great club, and it was art, it was music, it was theater.
I don't know, when was that? When was that around?
It was before your time.
Okay.
It was the 80s.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. But I'm sorry, I digress.
No, it's okay.
What
No,
was
it's
I
like,
saying?
no, you were in front of Madonna.
Oh, yeah, Madonna. Yeah. Oh, so Entertainment Weekly took a picture of Madonna, Rosie, the girl that somebody was dating at the time. I forget who else was all back there. And Poppy was sitting. She managed to get in the seat in front of them so she could talk to them. And Entertainment Weekly took a picture of them with Poppy in it. So I called Entertainment Weekly and I got a pic. I got that picture blown
For
up.
folks, Poppy Champlin.
Oh, Poppy Champlin. She's been on the show.
She's been on the show. But she was like
A very popular lesbian comedian.
She won Joan Rivers.
America's Funniest Real Woman.
There we are. Yes.
But this, and this, we went. She was. We were together for 5 years. She was my girlfriend. We're still very good friends. You've heard her on the show, probably. We went to New York for the Gay Games, and we went.
What year was that?
That was like
94,
maybe. 92.
Okay.
It's either 92 or 94.
All right.
And we went to the Beacon for this.
So around A League of Their Own, because that's when Madonna and Rosie became good friends.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I framed this picture of Poppy with the girls in back of her.
Oh my gosh! And that was also like the height of. I'm sorry, I'm focusing only on Madonna now.
Yeah, I know.
But that was also like around Blonde Ambition Madonna, which was my favorite Madonna iteration.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh yeah. That was fun. We were on top of the world. And we were sitting in front of Jada Pinkett. She was sitting in back of us. And we were in heaven. We didn't even have tickets. We went a few hours earlier and we got tickets in the front row on the right-hand side.
Was this before Poppy was on Joan Rivers? Or was it around the time?
It was... I think it was after.
Afterwards?
I think it was after. We went to New York for that. We got followed around by Entertainment Tonight.
That's
for
hilarious.
a day in the life of a woman that was, America's funniest real woman was what it was called. Yeah, I've been lucky. I've had a lot of fun little adventures over the years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so crazy. It's so going back to our earlier discussion that we had about visibility and all that stuff. I love talking with younger folks, like especially the younger folks that I work with, and they don't really quite understand. I'm like, do you realize like how big Rosie O'Donnell was when she got that talk show? I mean, she was everywhere. She was a ratings like juggernaut. She was dubbed the Queen of Nice. I remember, and she didn't come out. And I remember when the puppy episode, which is what the Ellen DeGeneres episode of her when she came out, that's what it was called. When the puppy episode was about to air, they were talking about, she was on the show and she's like, so I hear that your character Ellen is coming out on the show. And Ellen's like, yes, but there's been a very big some confusion. She's actually coming out as Lebanese. Lebanese. And then there was got a big joke and everything. And Rosie O'Donnell being like, I might be a little Lebanese too. Like, I like Baba Ganoush. Like, they started, so it was like
kind of
that whole thing. Well, she did Grease on Broadway with a friend of mine from high school, which is how I went bowling with her. And she was dating Patty Simcox in the show back then. So I've been on the shows. I was
Kathy just texted. It was 1994 was the Gay Games and that concert at the Beacon. So yeah.
So right around like her talk show was only a couple years after. Amazing.
That was quite a night. Queen Latifah was there, and oh my God, it was insane. It was insane. It was crazy.
Dana Owens,
the real, that's her name.
I love Dana. I love Dana so much.
She was on the Oscars. We can talk about that later, though. The Oscars.
Sure. Well, why don't we take a break? And we can, because I can't believe this week has just been so weird. The Oscars actually happened.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll do some Oscar chit chat. And again, what's on your mind? What's thinking of you? I'm worried about food always. Anyway,
Me too.
We'll get into that and a little bit and much more on the other side of this break. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Hey,
everybody. This is Tanya Richard from Tanya's Take, Race Culture and the Culture of Race, and you are listening to Out Chicago, WCPT.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with a melon. A melon?
A melon.
A melon.
Someone that is a nickname. That's
Were you Melon?
one of my college friends called me Melon.
Oh well. Well, Ellen Miller is
Thank
here.
you.
Ellen Miller.
Yes.
There we are.
A lot of L's.
A lot of L's going on there. Hey, and just a reminder, Monday from 2 to 5, Professor William Muck will be here filling in for Joan, and his guests will include North Central College political science professor Suzanne Chodge, professor of rhetoric and communication Robert Rowland, who wrote a book on Trump's rhetoric and nationalism, and Lauren Chu, I believe, communications director at the Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee. Live, local, and progressives weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m. Central on WCPT, Chicago's progressive talk for 20 years. There we go. This week has felt like it's been 20 years.
Yeah, they all do lately. Yeah, it's for sure.
I know a lot of people did not watch the whatever was it, the joint
session of Congress.
Yeah, as opposed to, it's not really the State of the Union. A lot of people didn't listen.
No,
to
they
it.
didn't.
No, I can't hear his voice.
Luckily, I had a nice Mardi Gras concert to go to, party to go to at Fitzgerald.
Yes, so I had to move food from one place to another.
Had I been home, sure, I probably would have been tempted.
Oh, I would not.
But I hope maybe
I can't hear. I can't hear his voice, and I can't hear just the way he's just the lies that happen.
Yeah, I read afterwards the summary of the lies was just one after the other, as one might expect.
Yeah, it's like it's basically a giant MAGA rally. He rambled on for over an hour and a half. I mean,
he loves to hear himself talk.
He
course.
really does.
Yeah.
But then, I'm mad at the Democrats for censoring Representative Green.
Yeah, do you believe several of them voted for that?
10 of them did. Yeah. I don't know why.
I don't know why either. This is not the time.
No, and he was doing what everybody else should be doing. Like, you are lying. You are lying.
And what about Marjorie Taylor Greene when she interrupted Biden?
And Lauren Boebert, two little howler monkeys.
Did anybody vote to censure them?
No, they sure didn't. No.
Once again, the Democrats are just being a little too mamby-pamby.
Yeah, well, I don't understand. Yeah, it's... I don't get it. I don't get it. So basically he just lied for an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. He had some weird people on there. He highlighted this one lady, January Littlejohn, who is from Florida.
Of course.
And again, we're going in with the whole demonizing trans people again, because she is she's suing her school. She's suing the school because she said that they are trying to make her child trans. Now, what actually happened is and Trump invited her to the speech so she could point her out about the dangers
of what's
happening here.
Yes,
what's
people.
going on, the fear mongering. The trans people are coming to get you, and you send your kids to school, they're going to come back trans. What really happened is this lady in Tallahassee, she emailed her school and said that her 13-year-old child has expressed, they would like to try this gender neutral thing, be gender nonconforming, and they would like to go by this name at school. They will go by another name at home. But they want to go. They're trying this on, and this mom emailed the teachers, and the teachers like, great, we got it, let's do it, and we'll here's our action plan, here's what's going to happen, blah 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 blah. There we are, we're going to do it. So the mom, January, she initiated this, and then dad caught wind of it and didn't like it, and now they're suing the school district because they're trying to change. They're doing this without notifying, even though they had all this other information.
A judge actually dismissed that case. They're not even taking
it. Yeah, it's not even a thing. Yeah, so it's like, okay, here again, just here's a little specter of the booger man that's happening over there. It was just crazy. with doing that. But I did tune in to the Democratic response, and it was Senator Alyssa Slotkin. She's the
Michigan.
She's the new freshman senator from Michigan. I thought she did a really, really great job.
I heard good reports about it. I didn't hear it myself.
I did listen to that. It was actually timed out perfectly. I was like leaving work and I was able to listen to.
I heard it was short and to the point.
Short to the point and she came across as, in these times where we're trying not to be like all like just aggressive, like the weird response. Who was it that sat at the kitchen table?
Oh yeah,
and I think wasn't that Ding Dong.
What's her name from the South?
No, she wasn't from the South. I can't remember who did it now.
I'm picturing her right now.
I thought it was Kristi Noem.
I think it was another one.
It was that weird, like totally staged, dramatic.
Right. I thought Kristi Noem at first, but I think it was that other woman that's attractive looking. That's from like somewhere in the South.
Maybe. I just can't. All I remember is her just being sitting at a kitchen table being terribly scared and awful, and the people are coming. But Alyssa Slotkin did not do that. She was calm. She came across as being likable. She came across as being like, here are the facts. Here's what's going.
Katie Britt.
Now, there we are. Yes. And she boiled everything down like, here are 3 chunks. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the economy. Let's talk about national security. And let's talk about preserving our democracy. Which basically was don't tune out, hold elected officials accountable, and to organize. One of the quotes that really stuck out for me, like, this isn't the first time we've experienced significant and tumultuous change as a country.
That's true.
I'm a student of history, and we've gone through periods of political instability before, and ultimately, we've chosen to keep changing this country for the better. But every single time, we've only gotten through those moments because of 2 things: engaged citizens and principled leaders.
We have engaged citizens. We're looking for the principled leaders.
We really are. And why don't we go to the phones here and talk to Rich in Chicago? Welcome. You're on Out Chicago, Rich.
How you doing, guys?
Doing all right.
Thanks, Rich.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to you.
Happy spring forward.
Right. So all I wanted to comment, you were talking about the quasi State of the Union Trump rally a couple of days ago. And, not surprised by the hypocrisy of, Madge. Marjorie Taylor.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised about that at all. They've been doing, they're all hypocrites since the century changed. But what I am pissed at is the Democrats. They need to get their frickin' act together and start acting in a cohesive message. When they kicked out Al Green, they all should have walked out.
Yep.
And they all need to stop playing around with these nice little signs, pink dresses or whatever. Get a cohesive message and just stick with it. This is too important. This is not frickin' normal.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disagree with you there.
I am not disagreeing at all. 100%.
And I'm going to encourage anybody at your station that ever gets a congressman on to state this. It's like we keep telling them, stop playing around.
Mm-hmm.
You can't treat this as we're trying to get along. They're not your friends. They never have been your friends. So why are you trying to treat them like stop saying my colleagues to the north? They're not your colleagues. They don't give a crap. Being careful there.
Yeah. And we appreciate that, Rich. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, you're. Thank you for calling
Thanks,
in.
Rich.
You are absolutely correct. And there's a part of me that there are people who are still clinging to decorum. And civility that is laid out, and there's always civility is supposed to be the leading force of everything. I love that. I love that they want to keep things civil discourse and keep things moving forward. But we're not dealing with civil people.
No, we're not
at all. You're dealing with these little howler monkeys. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who looks at they're going to send the gazpacho to come get you.
The gazpacho.
You've got like Handy McBoob, Lauren Boebert over there. Also, like one of the GRE. She has no offense to people with GREs, but like most people with GREs do not have a seat in Congress. You know, it's just yes.
You know, and they're so principled, they're so patriotic, they're so moral. Yet, what an example does this leader, meaning the president, what does that tell your kids? That it's okay to lie, that it's okay to be cruel. I mean, how do they square that?
That is the the $4 trillion question or whatever.
How do they square that?
I don't know.
The guy is
he's making all these, and he's making there are just so much dumb things happening right now. You know, these tariffs that are they happening? Are we doing the tariffs?
It just shows the guy it's all like a television reality show for him. Well, I'm going to do this. You know what?
Then we're going to take it back.
People probably went into his office and said, yeah, people are really, our people are mad about this too. You better, okay, we're going to blow it off for a month. And maybe we'll do a 250%. It's just like, this is insane what we're seeing. And we have to have a calmer head. Again, who are the leaders? I don't know. I've been asking my friends as we've been talking at dinner parties. We've just been staying home and having people over. Mm-hmm. You know, who are the emerging leaders of this party right now, of the Democratic Party? Who are the people that we are going to hang our hat on? Who are the people that we are going to look to lead us through this difficult time? And that's, I think, where the problem lies.
Yeah. Well, because people are worried about, my first person was AOC.
Yeah.
Popped in my head. Connecticut. Murphy? The Connecticut, yeah. Chris
Murphy, I guess he's from there, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Him, Pete Buttigieg. But yeah, Chris Murphy. Yeah. These are the people that seem to be taking, they're speaking out.
Pritzker, our own governor, emerging as a leader. But again, there's no clear. They've had this Trump, this idol that they've worshipped, for years. One guy to put it all into, and we are just trying to come up with somebody, and we gotta figure it out. I think every single day I want to see strong Democrats taking him to task, getting in front of the news media, making a splash every single day.
I know they're just not taking our suggestion, Ellen.
They're not.
I keep doing that.
This.
It's driving me crazy. Let's go back to the phones. Talk to Joe on the South Side. South Side. Joe, welcome. You're on Out Chicago.
Hi, Scott and Ellen. How are you?
Good,
We're
Joe.
doing
Thanks
okay. How you doing?
Okay. I'm a long-time listener. This is my first time calling.
Thank you.
And there's so much. Thank you. And there's just so much to be worried about. I'm on Social Security, so I'm holding my breath.
Yeah.
About that. But the reason the main reason I was calling is just a little background. My dad, who was black, he fought in World War II under George Patton's army. Mm-hmm. He was one of the few blacks, mainly because I think he looked more Latino than black, to fight alongside white soldiers. Mm-hmm. And I still have photos of him, in uniform with his weapon in France during that time. And it was just I just got so angry and frustrated with what they're doing now, erasing the history about the contribution of black and women in the military. And it's just my father fought against the Nazis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's like we have Nazis in the White House.
Yep.
And it's just so frustrating and angry. And the most absurdest thing, I'm sure you heard this, the Doge people, whatever, trying to remove any what they consider DEI.
Oh, are you talking about the Enola Gay?
Yes. People don't know the Enola Gay was the bomber, the jet that dropped, the bombs on Japan during World War II, which is another discussion altogether about, whether that should have been done or not. But however, they spotted the word gay, and these kids, I guess they're so young, they don't know what the history. They don't know American history.
They didn't even look. They didn't even look, Joe. Yeah. What they did is they probably put in some sort of Control F, like search for these words, and then they found the word gay, and so they took off pictures of the Enola Gay. Also, not only just of the Enola Gay, but of any service member who had the name Gay that's going on there. So those people are all gone. It's dumb. They're a bunch of dum-dums. The biggest dum-dum is also worried about transgender mice. You saying in the speech that they're spending millions of dollars on transgender mice. It's transgenic mice, you dum-dum. It's transgenic mice.
I also heard, are they going to, are they at the point now where they're going to be concerned about transatlantic,
right,
or trans-America, or anything with the word trans in it?
Yep. I think that's already been going on. Joe, thank you so much for listening in. Thank you for giving us a call today.
Thank you to your father for his contribution and for his fight for our country. We appreciate him.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous. We've talked about this before many, many times about how history is told by the victors, and the people who win get to decide what facts get put into the history books. That is one thing that I think a lot of people are really worried about the erasure of history.
Exactly. We're still not telling the stories as they need to be told about what we've done in this country to black people, to indigenous people.
To women,
yes. To gay people. I mean, this history is important because I think if people really had a better understanding, especially young people, we know we're older, we know it. But the younger people today, it's so important that they know about this so that they know that we have to learn from the past and not go back to where we were.
That's right. But let's get back to the phones and talk to Roosevelt. Hey, buddy, you're on out in Chicago.
Hey, Roosevelt.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You know what? You asked what's bothering me. I'll tell you what's bothering me. The way we treat our allies, our friends, and our neighbors to the north and south. And did you guys see how there's these things called mañanera, which means, translated literally, it means morning, which the president of Mexico does on a weekly basis or sometimes bi-weekly basis. So did you guys happen to see on the Midas Touch, which I recommend highly? And by the way, speaking of the Midas Touch, they just took over Joe Rogan as #1 in the country as far as podcasts.
Good.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Okay. So about 2-3 days ago, the Midas Touch, the Marcellus brothers, the three brothers, they put the mañanera, which means the biweekly information that she addresses the country, and she tore Trump a new one, meaning, hey, we're ready, buddy. We got plan A, B, C, and D, meaning the president of Mexico is not afraid of this country. Of this guy. She's not afraid of him, and she's ready for it. She's ready for this. And she says, unfortunately, the prices are going to go up in the United States of all the products that are shipped from here, Mexico, to the United States. But it's up to him. He's holding the decision of what he wants to do.
Yeah. Hey, Roosevelt, we don't have a really great connection, so I'm going to have to let you go. But thank you so much for calling. You brought up a really great point too. I mean, look, here's the thing: both the leaders of Mexico and Canada have responded very quickly and very thoroughly and very definitively. This is not happening. This cannot happen. And if you do this, we're going to just tariff you. Canada, I have never wanted a country to win more.
We're all rooting for Mexico and Canada. We're rooting for the other. Well, this is what they've done to us. We were rooting for other countries over our own.
Yeah,
because we realize how ridiculous our government is being to them.
And so in Canada, they're stop selling American products, and they're took them off the shelves, took them off the shelves, taken away, and they've also taken away Napa wine and Kentucky bourbon. And now, as a result, I know people in, I want to say maybe even Tennessee, I think it was a Jack Daniels, had to like fire a whole bunch of people because they didn't get paid. They didn't get money because they have to get rid of all this thing. It's just bonkers. And all under this guise of waste, fraud, and abuse kind of thing. But I guess it's that. But I have no idea why starting a completely useless trade war.
Because tariffs is the most beautiful word in the English language. And this is how
I think it's onomatopoeia.
This is what
That's
he thinks.
my personal favorite word. Tariffs, but it doesn't make it makes zero sense.
Imbecile running the country.
It makes zero sense.
Yeah, it doesn't, because he was elected to bring down the price of American goods on day one, quote unquote, from those people that voted for him.
TikTok, baby.
And we see that now he's saying maybe a little pain, a little pain. That's not what people, you didn't say that in the beginning. You didn't say that when you were running.
Yeah.
Because he's a smoke and mirrors guy. We know that.
Well, and again, they do not care. They do not care about you.
No, they
do
don't.
not care about the American people. The whole thing about like, oh, it's going to hurt just for a little bit.
For them to say that,
For
who
them
has their health care and their pensions for the rest of their lives is covered by us, the United States citizens.
Not to mention billions of dollars, and Ding Dong just got his billions, like, by totally making money off of the whole election thing.
Yeah,
hawking Bibles, hawking watches, hawking shoes. Now this whole Bitcoin thing that's going on.
How about the citizenship? If you come up with $5 million, who's getting that money?
Yeah,
who's going to get that $5 million from his good? I know some nice Russian oligarchs, and that's a whole nother story. He is completely a Russian asset, in my opinion.
Oh,
he
100%.
has been compromised for years.
Yeah.
And if this doesn't sicken every American, I don't care what your political party is, I don't know what will.
Oh, but Ellen, didn't you hear? He's considering putting tariffs on Russia if they don't do peace talks. Considering.
Yeah, that's again, smoke and mirrors.
Thank you.
He won't do it.
Yeah.
He won't do it. He said, I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to say that so they think I'm not on your side.
Well, he's considering it, guys. He's not going to do it. He's considering
it.
It's the language. It ticks me off so much. It's like, oh, look, he's trying for peace. No.
No, he's not.
Throwing BS up your butthole.
Yeah.
And I think on that note, we should probably take a break. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the final thrilling, show-stopping moments of Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signals.
I'm proud to be Out Chicago, and you should be proud to be listening to Out Chicago on Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here and Ella Miller.
Yes, indeed.
We're on the log. Hey, just to remind you, on Monday on Driving It Home, Patty Vasquez will be joined by Warren and Peter of Source Solar, positivity expert Jen Zanotti, and other guests. Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Central on WCPT 820 a.m., the Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. So many places to see Patty.
And us.
There we go. Oh, also, we have our own podcast, too. Actually, 2 of them. Just search for Out Chicago wherever you find your podcasts. You can get the full episodes and featured episodes, featured interviews that's going on over there.
Relive the magic. That is Out Chicago.
Moment. It's true. Mm-hmm. It's true. One of the things that's really been on my brain.
Yeah.
I guess since we have been talking about community and talking about just what's on our mind and everything. Mm-hmm. And I am really, I guess, I don't know if am I really, really concerned? I'm just concerned.
Tell me about it,
because I don't think
Scott.
it is. But okay, do you all remember the lavender scare? What the lavender scare is? This is what we're talking about when like history needs to be told, and to be, recorded. So the lavender scare was a moment that happened during McCarthyism. Do we all remember McCarthyism, right?
Well, we remember hearing about it.
Remember, but I mean, we know what it is. We remember it happened. So
yes, we do. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So McCarthyism going in and weeding out communists.
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff that's happening.
Hollywood,
and everything.
Out,
but it was also the lavender scare was a part of that. It was a moral panic about homosexual people in the U.S. government, which led to their mass dismissal from government service during the mid-20th century. So, like in the 50s and 60s. It normalized persecution of homosexuals through bureaucratic institutionalization of homophobia. That's the big definition of everything. And it looks like it might be creeping up back again, because according to the Advocate, quote, the Trump administration's recent policies, including a memorandum from the Office of Personnel Management prohibiting employee resource groups that promote diversity initiatives, have instilled anxiety among LGBTQ plus workers. Reports of mass terminations and demands for the names of LGBTQ plus employee resource group leaders have only heightened these concerns. I mean, that's a big thing.
It is. Hopefully our country has, already we've been moving forward with under, Democratic presidents like Barack Obama and Joe Biden over the years. And where even if you're a Republican, you have gay people in your family that are married, that are your that we don't, as a country, I really feel that the people don't want to go back there, even though these people on, the Trump types and the core Trump followers, they may want to, but the majority of Americans over and over again, if you poll them, they are for the right of marriage equality. We've evolved. I'm hoping.
Do you feel because I think that's why I was I had to really consider my words. When I said, when I'm really concerned about, am I really concerned about it? I am concerned.
I have more faith in the people than I do in the people that are trying to create this kind of environment for gay people. I have faith in the American people that we don't want to go back to that. Now, there's always going to be some people that do.
But there are. Let's look at Tennessee.
Well,
let's look at states like Tennessee. Let's look at states like Texas. Let's look at these places that they really they just do not like us.
Well, the governments don't, but the people, I still believe, the majority of people don't feel that way.
Okay, but just throwing in a little monkey. Well, no, I think that's wrong. And I'm going to, at least in Tennessee, because they voted into legislation. They voted things in to pass that limit gay rights, that are going after trans people, that are their state legislature we're at what 500 new anti-LGBTQ laws that are popping up all over.
They're fast and furious. They're fast
and furious.
They're trying, but I still have faith in that the people. The majority.
I would think the majority of the people, but the problem is the majority of the people of the country don't live in those states.
No, that's true. Yeah, you're right. I mean,
that's the only thing that I'm getting, because I'm with you. I agree. I think there's so many people who have they've got a gay best friend, they've got a gay son, they've got a queer daughter, they've got a gender nonconforming sibling.
Yeah.
Something.
Yes,
we're everywhere.
Yes.
We've
spent years being everywhere, and people have accepted that, but now yes, there are forces that want to take us back the other way. There are people I know that are. It's that people that talk about Florida or Tennessee. Do I move out of those states or do I stay there and fight?
Right.
Because if people don't feel comfortable, they're going to just leave, and then that state will turn into God knows what. I have friends that have moved, and even though they have winter homes in Florida or in some of these southern states, they've changed their voters registration to those states.
Right.
There are things we can do, but the most important thing is we have to stand up. We have to vocalize that we don't want persecution.
Oh yeah, no, I'm done. I'm too old to go back to anything else. That's just ridiculous. And kind of. We've been talking about this all day. Yeah. It seems like we're so lucky to be here in Illinois,
yes,
and in Chicago in particular.
Yeah.
But Illinois, we've got a fantastic governor with J.B. Pritzker. We've got we are so lucky that we have written into the city's laws that you cannot anti-discrimination laws for LGBTQ folks when it comes to housing, when it comes to employment.
Work, yeah.
All of these things. We are very, very lucky, but as we move forward, what we have to do is we have to just remember that we need to be more out. We need to be more proud. We need to be yourself. We have to be more visible. You have to be more vocal about not going back in the closet.
And we have to have our allies be more vocal as well.
That is 100% true. Right there. I didn't realize I was going to get quite so spicy at the end of the show.
Okay.
But yeah, but that's the thing that's kind of been on my head lately.
There's just so many things that have been on our heads. It's whiplash right now. But that's part of what they're trying to do is confuse and misdirect and just baffle people as to where do we begin. But where we begin is the 5calls.org that we talked about. I got a response from Tammy Duckworth, one of the many calls. I don't remember which one I made that she responded. I guess one of them was, I agree with your concern over Elon Musk, and it's a form letter. But at least,
Oh, you hear back.
Yeah,
I've heard back from
we have to keep doing this because this is why he changed courses this week, is because these town halls, people that have shown up, people that have filled their inboxes, their phones with messages of we're not happy with this behavior. We don't want to go backwards. We don't want these tariffs. We don't want this. We don't want that. And so, I see that we made a difference a little bit.
100%.
And we have to keep doing these things because it works. And I think when the weather warms up, there's going to be a lot more marches that are going on. Mm-hmm. I think people will come out en masse. People are ready to do what it takes. They are. I know my community is here in the Chicago area.
No, I agree with you today. Just even like, the sun being out today was a total game changer. I'm like, oh, let's optimism. That's what I'm feeling right now. Optimist, which is great.
Yes.
And I think Senator Slotkin also did a really, really good job in her speech at the end. She's like, when she's talking about engaged citizens and principled leaders. It was a reminder to me, and I think, and I will pass along this reminder to everybody else, as you just said, Ellen Miller, that there's so much going on. There's just so many things that we just can't even wrap your brain around, just because it's like, what? Pick one that really, really matters to you, whether that's trans rights, whether that's get Elon Musk the stuff from being co-president, whether it's fill in the blank, whatever, women's reproductive health, where it's autonomy over people's bodies, whether it is civil rights,
supporting Ukraine.
Supporting Ukraine, whatever it is, pick one. Mm-hmm. Just pick one and focus on that. And you can find information from the 5 Calls people. You can find stuff from Indivisible. You can find stuff from Equality Illinois. You can find resources. And when you take action, that is when the despair kind of will lessen.
Yes, it makes you feel
good.
And
the dismay.
It makes you feel better.
But it really is like there's just so much going on. We have to continue to hold elected officials accountable. And we have to organize. We have to do something. And just picking, like we said, just one thing and focus on that. Yeah. It'll make a big difference because not everybody's going to pick the same thing.
No. Keep showing up.
Yeah.
Keep showing up. Don't be afraid. Don't feel like we don't have a voice, because we do. We have a big voice.
We do. We just have to make sure that we are exercising it and finding our community within that voice.
Yep.
Yeah. Because that's the only way we're going to get through this giant poop parade.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of work to be done, and it feels like we are definitely on this ride together.
Yep. There's more of us. Remember,
there's more of us.
There's more of us.
There is, but again, I think buckle up, folks. I think we're going to have to kind of go through it, and we just need to make sure that we're there to ready the call or answer the call.
Keep each other up. Keep each other as positive as we can be, because it's easy to get mired in it, and we all do. Let's face it. But we also have to take that other app. We have to say, hey, but what can we do? I'm excited to fight against this. This is a cause that is worth everything right now.
Yeah, just not siding with dictators.
No.
Like, that's pretty great.
Yeah.
I think that would be really awesome.
Yeah, me too. Not siding with dictators.
There we go. Yeah. So if you want any more of this scintillating conversation, make sure you visit the Out Chicago page to listen on demand to recent interviews and full episodes of the show. You can find subscribe links to our full episodes and featured interview podcasts, read all about us and more. So go to heartlandsignal.com/out-Chicago. And that is going to do it for today's show of Out-Chicago. I want to thank Brian Johnson, CEO of Equality Illinois, for all of his tireless work that he has done for the last 9 years, and for taking time out to join us today. Devin, thank you so much for running the show so wonderfully well. Paul, thank you for being completely adequate. There we are.
Keep the faith, friends.
Keep the faith, friends.
Keep the faith. We can do it.
Yep,
Let's
remember,
not give up. One good thing.
We haven't come this far just to come this far.
That's
so
right.
remember that. There we are. Ella Miller, I want you to have a fantastic week.
Same to you, Scott.
Thank you so much. And I'm Scott Duff. And until next week, stay proud.